The Chinese bamboo and Stoic patience. Start your personal development today. Based on my experience, the biggest sin committed in personal development processes is wanting to go too fast. Impatience is the origin of many initiatives that fail. People want immediate results, and when they don't happen, as it goes against nature, many people become frustrated and end up giving up. I have always liked the example of the Chinese bamboo as a metaphor for the processes of personal change and transformation. The Chinese bamboo evolves as follows. After the seed is planted, approximately 5 years pass without anything visible happening except for a tiny shoot. All its growth is underground, building a complex root structure that spreads vertically and horizontally through the earth. Then, at the end of the 5th year, the Chinese bamboo grows rapidly to reach a height of 25 meters. Something very similar happens with personal development processes. One decides one day to pursue their personal legend, follow their vocation, passion, and dreams. They plant and work, but see no results, day after day, season after season. But it seems that everything remains the same, that nothing happens. Then doubts, slumps, and moments of emotional weakness appear, inviting them to give up, to throw in the towel. Some, facing the uncertainty of the future, give up and prefer to sail to a safe harbor. Others continue, but soon after also give up. And so it happens with many others periodically. However, there is a small minority who decide to move forward and stay firm on their course, despite the strong winds that may batter the boat. And suddenly, one day, everything accelerates. Something starts to germinate. An exponential growth occurs. It is as if the night before had been another of those days when one thinks of giving up. And suddenly, the next day, the light appears. As popular wisdom points out, the darkest hour of the night is just before dawn. One more thing. Quite frequently, another of the great enemies in personal development processes is the people around you. Avoid pessimists, negative people, and toxic individuals who, lacking the courage to pursue their dreams, try to prevent others from doing so because it would expose their shortcomings and mediocrity. Yes, you can too. Have no doubts. The limits are never within people, but in their surroundings. Maybe you see yourself as very insignificant, but you are not that. Those are your beliefs. Your limits are the limits of your beliefs. If you believe in something, that something is true, both for good and bad. We are addicted to our beliefs. We all have limits, but those limits are not ours. They are not something we are born with, but the result of our environment. Limits are a kind of software installed in our brains during the first 6 years of our lives through what we have seen, visual model, and what we have heard, verbal model. Your limiting or enabling beliefs reflect your self-esteem. If you see yourself as someone capable of achieving great things, that will happen. And if you see yourself as too insignificant to reach high goals, you will not reach them. Living with low self-esteem is like going through the world tied hand and foot. The chances of advancing are very limited. Your self-esteem is nothing more than the reputation you have of yourself, how you see yourself as a product. And if you don't like yourself, what you are manifesting is that you wouldn't buy yourself, and neither will others. How others treat you is a reflection of how you treat yourself. Your life is a reflection of your unconscious, a manifestation of your beliefs. Therefore, the first challenge of the will should be to cultivate healthy mental habits. If your beliefs are limiting, No matter how hard you work, your results will be poor. Your mind directs your life. 90% of our lives are governed by the unconscious. Therefore, if you control your mind, you control your life. Never forget Don Ward's words. If you're going to doubt something, doubt your limits. Disbelief holds us back and is an ally of mediocrity. I conclude with a couple of points. 1. Place responsibility on yourself. Don't focus on what will happen, but on what you are going to do. There are two types of people: those who believe things happen and those who make things happen. The former abound. Human beings are specialists in justifying why their life is not going in the direction they would like, using various excuses. Politicians, the crisis, education, or any other factor. There are plenty of blame experts. When one decides to take responsibility for their life, everything changes for the better, because then it is possible to take action. There are things that cannot be changed, such as the weather. But what one can do is get an umbrella if it rains, dress warmly if it's cold, or use air conditioning when it's hot. The weather cannot be an excuse to stay at home waiting for the sun to come out. There is nothing worse than doing nothing. People with a winning mindset don't waste time on useless complaints. Instead, they look for alternatives to bypass or overcome obstacles and reach where they had previously set out to go. 2. Never give up. The worst thing that can happen in the struggle for your goals is to break down and give up, to surrender. There comes a moment in life when things change for the worse when one resigns. Never, never, never lose faith with a capital F. Along the way, there are many moments of despair, doubts, and emotional slumps. Accept it as part of the process. Don't stop and keep going. Your chances of success increase every time you persist. The hardest work is not giving up.